Hi friends, welcome to Beautifully Bookish Bethany, where I have new videos every week about books and the geeky mom lifestyle. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. Okay, so I was filming my mid-month wrap-up and started talking about this book and was like, there's so much to say. I have so many things to say about this book. I'm just gonna make a standalone review video for it. So here you go. This is my thoughts and feelings on Plain Bad Heroines. This was not even really on my TBR, but I just had a good feeling about this. I had a feeling I was gonna love it, so I decided to buy a physical copy, and let me tell you, I loved it. I know it's not gonna be a book for everybody. And I say that about a lot of books, but really, this is not. What's great about the physical book, if you can get your hands on it, is it's illustrated, and it has really interesting illustrations throughout the book that I think really add to the experience of reading it. I did a combination of listening to this on audio and flipping through it and reading some along physically, and I really loved that experience because I do think the audiobook is done really well. But I would recommend Plain Bad Heroines to people who love books like The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, but are interested in the premise of a queer horror comedy surrounding a girls' boarding school. Which I realize might sound really specific, and it kind of is, but this is the sort of book that I feel like readers who loved The Starless Sea would be into, and people who didn't like The Starless Sea would not be into, just in terms of approach to storytelling and the pace of the book. It's the sort of thing that some people are going to be like, this is so slow, there's too many things going on, it's too confusing, I don't like it. And, you know, is it slow? Yes. Are there a lot of like interweaving storylines that are happening? Yes. Is it detailed, and is it something that will reward paying close attention to it? Yes. Those are all things that are true of The Starless Sea, and those are things that I love, but not every reader does. So just kind of know going in that's what this is, especially because it's a lengthy book. It's a little over 600 pages, so this is for sure a tome, but at least in my opinion it was warranted. Some people seem to think it should be shorter. I was really happy with what it was. So what is Plain Bad Heroines about? It's a little complicated. Honestly, it's a little bit complicated to explain, because much like the Russian nesting dolls that are mentioned in the story, for those of you who have read it, this is a nested story. It is also labyrinthine and complex, like a wasp's nest. Wasps are also a common motif in the story, which is part of why you see like the yellow jackets here. And they end up being really creepy. In terms of the type of horror that this is, it's a quiet, creeping horror where the spookiness and the sense of dread will slowly build throughout the story, with moments that are like super creepy, but it's never over the top. And I love that kind of horror that leaves you like asking questions and wondering what's real and what isn't, and never fully answering that, which I think is great. This is also in some ways a love letter to unlikable female characters, which I have a place in my heart for. I really appreciate unlikable female characters who are prickly or selfish or ambitious, and there are a lot of women like that here. The other thing about this is it is unabashedly sapphic. There are a lot of sapphic women and sapphic relationships throughout this book across multiple timelines, and it's, you know, a love letter to that as well, I think, to queer women throughout history who have always found a way to live in one way or another. So here are kind of the nested stories you're getting in chronological order. At some point, I think in the late 1800s, there was a young woman who wrote a diary of sorts about her big feelings as an adolescent, and her prickliness and her anger and her desires, and she had it published. And that book that she published plays a significant role throughout this book. So we never see the author of that book on page, but we hear her voice through snippets of her book throughout it. Now that book ended up in the hands of different generations of girls at this all-girls boarding school in the early 1900s. And some of them who loved this book decided to create the Plain Bad Heroines Society. And there's this really great quote near the beginning of this book about like, why do the heroines other than Jane Eyre always have to be beautiful? Where are the plain heroines? And why are they always good? Where are the bad heroines? And I kind of love that, like I said, in terms of like unlikable female characters or people not always having to be pretty or beautiful all the time. I love that as a concept that's woven in here. So we have this book at the school, but the book is linked to some creepy bad things that start happening and the deaths of some students. Students who were girls who loved other girls in boarding school. And so we follow a little bit of those students, but then we also spend a lot of time with two of their teachers who help run the boarding school. And these are middle-aged women in a long-term relationship with each other. But they also have secrets that they're carrying and baggage that hasn't been dealt with from their past, and so more and more of that starts to get revealed as the story progresses. Then the final part of this is the modern day storyline. In the modern day, a young woman decided to write a book about what happened with all of these girls reading this book back in the early 1900s, and now her book is getting turned into a movie. So it's like nested stories, right? And so we follow two actresses who are attached to that movie, both of whom are queer, and the author of the book who is being brought on to kind of help with the film as they're making the movie, and weird, creepy things are happening. Okay, so that's the setup. Is it complicated? Yes. Does it weave together in really interesting ways? Yes. Is there, but like also there's so much good commentary throughout this book. It's so smart. It's one that I feel like you could reread and get more from every time. And the ending is like not super open-ended, but slightly open-ended, which I also love. This is just like such a smart, beautiful, interesting book, and I was so into it. I really loved it. There's this other line that I think is really interesting where they're talking about the making of the movie and the fact that the movie is going to focus on the two young girls in the girls' boarding school who died because nobody cares about middle-aged Sapphic women in a domestic relationship. And I was like, that's so interesting, and I think it's also interesting given some of the commentary that I've heard on social media about some things like this recently. I don't know, there was a lot that I really loved about this. I get that not everybody is gonna love it as much as I did because it is a slower paced book. It's a complex, intricately woven book. It's got motifs that have meaning, and I loved it so much. I will stop there, but I just kind of wanted to gush a little bit about this because I loved all of the women in this, even with their messiness and their selfishness and their bad choices and all of their complexities. I loved the interweaving of all of these different story elements, and there's also footnotes in here, and I love a book with footnotes. I love a novel with footnotes where they're snarky or interesting, and this definitely does that really well, I think. Not, again, like another thing that not everybody likes, but I'm a fan of. And then just like little things, like I think there's a footnote talking about the different types of misogyny of some classic sci-fi authors like Heinlein and Asimov, and like there's just so many things. This tackles issues of racism and homophobia, and it's great. It's really great. What else can I say? So if you have read Plain Bad Heroines, please talk to me in the comments down below, especially if you loved it as much as I did, because I would love to talk to somebody else who loved this book, because I feel like, kind of like the Starless Sea, there's going to be plenty of people who will not be huge fans, but I think this was incredible. And the more I think and talk about it, the more I think this is going to be on my list of favorite books of the year. So hey, talk to me in the comments down below. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more, and if you want to support the work of the channel, check out the Patreon linked in the video description. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.